primary soon. And the primary is your opportunity to elect the right Republican. On April 3rd, you get to decide which Republican will best represent our district. And I would like to prove to you tonight that I am the Republican that will best serve you in the Texas legislature. The Tax Foundation, which was established in 1939, produces a Tax Freedom Day. And they've calculated that the Tax Freedom Day for Texas is April 7th. So the first 98 days of the year, your income goes to paying federal, state, and local taxes. Tomorrow, you have 75 days left to fulfill your obligation. I don't know about you, but I know that I am taxed enough already. My goal as your representative is to make sure that your tax dollars are spent efficiently and on constitutional mandates. My name is Rachel Delgado, and I'm running to represent District 23, which is the seat that's currently held by Craig Island. He's an 18-year incumbent and is a plaintiff's trial attorney. I've seen up close and personally Representative Island's behavior in the legislature. I met with him during the legislative session because I wanted to find out what's wrong. What is happening in our country that we have huge deficits? Why, in the state of Texas, the most economically sound state in the United States, do we have $175 billion in debt when you accumulate state, local, school district, all the different tax entities? Representative Island's only solution to solving our debt problem is additional sources of revenue, otherwise known as ways to get deeper into your pocket. We are, in the state of Texas, we do not have a revenue problem. We have a spending problem. I was born and raised here in Texas City. My husband and I are bringing up our 4 children here. My father was a union pipe fitter. My mother graduated from the University of Texas Medical Branch in Galveston. She is a physician's assistant. Today is her birthday. I wanted to tell her happy birthday. She'll be here in a moment. There she is. My mom is walking in. Right. As a kid, I grew up hunting and fishing on the Texas Gulf Coast. My dad would outfit my sister and I with waders and boots, 410s, and we would go out into the marsh way before the sun ever came up, before anybody should be out there. Well, nobody should be out there in the first place. I thought this was a character-building exercise. His goal was to toughen us up. But what I realized that it probably had more to do with the limit on the amount of ducks you could shoot. I'm a small business owner. I own and manage rental property. My husband and I are homeschooling our 4 children. I have the right motivations. I have the right experience. I know and have relationships with legislators across the state of Texas. The good guys, the guys who think like we do, that government has grown beyond its bounds and has become too big of a burden on small business owners. They realized that I was from Representative Craig Island's district and asked, don't folks back home know that he does not live there? Don't people care that the only thing that he wants to do is raise your taxes? And my response was, I don't think anybody knows. He hasn't been challenged. I've worked the polls as an election judge, and if you haven't done that, I suggest that you at least try that. It is a wonderful experience, and right now that service is being performed by the greatest generation. I sit next to ladies, and we chat and talk while we work at the poll and process people who are coming in to vote. please do that. I founded and chaired the Galveston County Tea Party, and we held one of the very first job interviews in Galveston County for the county judge, the district attorney. Thank you, Jack Reddy, for participating in that, and the county clerk. We wanted to get the Democrat and the Republican to respond to the same questions without feeling that they would be attacked by their opponent. I attended the session, the 82nd legislative session. That is 140 days, every odd-numbered year. We send 150 people to represent districts across our state. We hope that they carry our issues. We hope that they understand what it feels like to live in our district. You meet lobbyists from all spectrums and all industries. I think that while I was there, I may have met the world's very first yoga lobbyist. Week in and week out, I spoke in committee hearings, testified, and watched the legislative process. And if you've been following the legislature, you know that we had a huge budget deficit this past session. We can't really get an exact number on how big it was, estimated to be about $18 billion. That means we had $18 billion less to spend than we had the previous session. So what do? You've got to fund education. You've got to fund Medicaid. You've got to pay for health and human services and public safety, general government, all those different articles. How do you handle that problem without raising taxes? There's a very simple solution. And Representative Ireland, in his position on the Appropriations Committee, did not do it. In 2003, the legislature was faced with a very similar budget scenario. It was about $10 billion, which seems really cute today. That legislature had the political will to require all 600 state agencies to build their budget from zero. Go back, start at zero, tell us what you need. We did not do that. The next session, we are going to see another huge deficit. Even if we do not repeal Obamacare, we will have a $7 billion budget deficit. And I promise you, as your representative, I will fight and advocate to ensure that we run government efficiently and effectively, and we focus it on constitutional mandates. In our own personal lives, when we have a budget shortfall, for whatever reason, ladies, we take a look at that cell phone bill. We make sure we're getting the best deal on that. Take a look at your insurance premium. You shop around. That's the thing that I will require government to do. One of Representative Ireland's solutions was to raid the rainy day fund. And myself and Heidi Tees, a lot of the folks from the Clear Lake Tea Party, we worked together to defend that rainy day fund. It's officially known as the Economic Stabilization Fund, and it gives our state its bond rating. This is very important and long-lasting effects. Representative Ireland voted against the budget because it did not use the entirety of the rainy day fund. But if you look ahead to the next budget cycle and we do not have an economic stabilization fund, that's a bad situation for our state to be in. We are one of only 7 states that does not have a state income tax. And as long as I am representing this district, I will fight to ensure that that never happens. Ireland believes that 98 days of paying taxes is not long enough. He thinks that you should be paying more in taxes. He's kind of a one-trick pony. If we need more revenue, let's hit you up. Where can we shake more money out of the taxpayers? Is that my time? My name is Rachel Delgado. I'm running to be your representative. I ask for your vote in the Republican primary. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tea Party, for inviting us tonight. It's a great pleasure to be here. The issues are great, but I want to tell you something about myself first, a little bit of history. If you're on a job application, you've got to know where I come from, what I stand for, and what my qualifications are. I'm a small businessman also. I started a business over 40 years ago with $400. That business has grown to be one of the largest tractor companies in the Houston area, and I manage and own quite a bit of commercial property. All hard work, sweat, blood, and tears. I have 4 children. I've been married to my wife, Jean, over here for over 44 years. Same lady. I have 4 grown children who run our business now. They're all involved in business, 1 son-in-law, 1 grandson. And I also have 10 grandchildren. I also have an agricultural experience. Now, with agricultural experience comes a lot of experience, not only in ag and cattle and pasture, but it also, there's a lot of interwrangling with pollution. A farmer understands pollution. A farmer understands that the earth belongs. In other words, I have a passion for the earth. I'm not a tree hugger. I'm a protector of the earth. I'm a cleaner upper if I make a mess. The farming industry has virtually been put out of this area. At one time, we used to road combines all the way from Chambers County. We farmed in Alvin also and come all the way through here, and it was total rice farming cattle. As you can see now, there's no rice. So I just want to throw that in to let you know that I am an advocate of a good, clean, quality environment. Also, I managed water for years. Farmers use lots of water. Water is a big issue that's coming up. I've dealt with water boards. I've dealt with the city of Houston over water issues for practically all my life. My father started farming after World War II when he came back from the service as a B-17 pilot. And he started farming in 1948. I started farming right before I got out of high school in 64, 65, and continued up until the government has quietly put us out of business over the last 4 years because of the EPA, because of TCEQ, and because of the high price, naturally, of the foreign market has suppressed the local market. People experience. I am a people person. Not many people know, but I don't mind telling you, it's public knowledge. I pastor a small church. I have for years. I've done missionary work in Mexico for over 25 years and traveled back and forth. I've never lived in Mexico, but up until it got dangerous now. As you heard today, there was a missionary couple killed in Monterey, an older couple that just refused to leave doing the work of the Lord, and the cartel, they think it's the cartel that got them. So I am a people person. I like people. I like to go and visit. Sometimes my wife even has to whistle me home sometimes at night because I like to stop and I like to visit. Political experience. I was county commissioner for 12 years in Chambers County. I went in office in 1999. I always had the ambition and the dream of one day running for state representative. Everybody, when you enjoy something and you're not doing it for the money, and by the way, if you're a county commissioner or you're running for one, if you think you're going to get any money, you're wrong, because barbecue tickets and Little League and girls softball and all that, that's $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year commitment. I'm sure it's more in a big county. But that's one thing that's committed. But I ran because my number one reason, I was tired of the same old excuses from our local politicians. You know, taxes, 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 never enough, never enough, spend, 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 rules, rules, rules. And I ran against a guy who'd been there 20 years, and I beat him. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'll be on my tenure of Commissioner's Court. We went from a partly Democrat to an almost 100% Republican. Chambers County has done just like Galveston, except a few years ago, turned completely almost 90% Republican. Why? Well, everybody voted Republican. It's just that we didn't have a Republican box, and we didn't have the drive that it took in small counties. Look how long it takes to build up that force. Matter of fact, I wished there had been a Tea Party in 1999 when I stepped out on my own. I left a prosperous business, and although the county commissioner is not a full-time job, it takes a lot of your time and a lot of your talent. But there wasn't a Tea Party in those days. But I also thought that it was and still is my responsibility, and people like myself who are willing to leave their business and put their lives on hold for that length of time to go and fight for what's right. It's just a matter of what's right. The average working person can't leave their job for days and weeks and months. I've been to Austin before on county business, and by the way, county operates off of state law, and everything in the county is just a little notch up. It's just bigger numbers in Austin. There's a lot of stuff that has similarities. Practically everything. I had the industrial area of Chambers County, which included all the Galveston Bay up to Texas City, all the gas and oil, and all the industry. So I've been to Austin many, many times. You want to put a park in, you're going to go lobby in Austin for several days, and you're going to make every office with your hat in your hand and explain why you want to build that park. And I don't care if you're a fed-up businessman or a Tea Party organizer. It takes time and it takes dedication to drive an issue home. Always has and always will. And my hat's off to anybody who's part of the Tea Party movement, the Republican Party, or others who's contributed time and money to move where we are today, because it takes a lot of that push. And most of it's volunteer time. Commissioner's job. Well, just a little bit what I dealt with. And I tell you what I dealt with there, because in correspondence, the same things are escalated. You'll remember that laws are passed and they're moved right back down to the channel where we have to deal with them on a day-to-day. I deal with TxDOT. There's a lot of issues in counties over TxDOT. There's roads to be built. There's issues to be built. There's hearings to go to, not only in Houston but in Austin, if you want funding and you want that road to go. Sadly, I deal with the EPA. Always a loss of my sanity with them. TCEQ, the little EPA, almost as bad sometimes. Gotten a little better, but still not where they should be. Overstaffed, I think. Water districts. Every state representative deals with water district. You're the one that the commissioner comes to you and he lobbies you, and you have to carry it to the floor, and it has to be organized and set up by the Texas legislature, by districts. Special industrial districts, same way. Galveston has them, and they have more coming, by the way. The Panama Canal's opening. Galveston, the Port of Galveston's already got a handshake agreement. There's more coming here. That's 2 years off. We've been knowing it for years. We have 25,000 acres right on the other side of the bay using offshore ports that the ships come in Galveston. There's big plans for this area, all the way from Corpus, all the way. I've been to many meetings over the last 5 years. L.A.'s blocked out. New Orleans is below sea level. Galveston suffered a little bit, but it's overcoming because of the hurricane. People are getting faith in it again, and they want this high ground. They want it for warehouses. They want it for shipping. And it's going to be a boom to the economy. A lot of ocean-going stuff to keep trucks off the road. We don't need any more trucks. I don't know about you, but I don't. They're by the thousands. Navigation districts, bonds, grants, state and federal, interlocal agreements with schools, cities, and other counties. FEMA. I deal with FEMA. I'm a veteran of 2 hurricanes. Worst days of my life, Hurricane Rita. Me and the other commissioner, we're the only one left on the whole west side. We rode the storm out. We got 10,000 people scattered along Interstate 10, dead, no gasoline, no medical, no hospitals open, no nothing. And, buddy, you talking about a mess. We never worked so hard in our life. But it takes it. I have the experience to carry through a hurricane. I'm FEMA certified, if that means anything. I'm certified by the Emergency Management of the Texas Department of Public Safety, which took quite a few courses. Why did we do that, our commissioner's court? We've done that because the next hurricane, you pick up the phone, you talk directly to those jarheads in Austin that won't return your call, because, see, now you're certified, and you can make the call because they'll receive it. So I have experience dealing with many of these issues. And I'll tell you, Texas, they have a lot of problems, and they're not going away. Budgets. There's nothing but bad news when the hammer drops. It's estimated anywhere from $5 billion to $7 billion just to open the session. I mean, where's it coming from? Well, there's a little bit of oil and gas money pouring in the rainy day fund. But, the rainy day fund's been played like a cookie jar. Somebody needs to slam the lid and break a few fingers off on that cookie jar. It's getting empty. School funding. It's a biggie. She mentioned the Robin Hood plan. There's some rich school districts around here that have to give away money. But you know something? Barbers Hill's one of them over there. And you know what? They can't give it to a poor school district hardly. They have to look for loopholes and run the money around the pole. Got millions of dollars to give away, and they got to give it somewhere. Why not keep it in the Gulf Coast area and feed poor school districts? We've got some poor school districts. Beaumont, it's close. Going this way, you got poor school districts. Time? Thank you very much.
Appreciate y'all being here. How about this? Why don't y'all just stand up for a second? You know, here's what I know. The mind can only procure what the seat can endure. And I've been sitting there a long time. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm pleased to be here. I thank you all for turning out. This is the process that makes it all work. This is the process that we need to reinstitute back into politics, back into how we elect people. I'm Wayne Faircloth. I'm honored to be running for the Texas House of Representatives of District 23. I believe our district needs a new leader who will put your interest ahead of self-interest. That's not happening right now, not with the Democrat incumbent. I want to offer to you a scripture that inspires me. Here's what it says, and you can guess who's doing the talking. I looked for someone who might rebuild the wall of righteousness that guards the land. I searched for someone to stand in the gap in the wall so I wouldn't have to destroy the land. But I found no one. Who's the speaker? Any idea? It's God. He's saying, I'm looking for a man to rebuild a wall and stand in the gap. On my card, you'll see it says that. It says bridging the gap. There are bridges in Chambers County and in Galveston County. We need someone who can do that. I care about the direction of our country, our state, and our own community here in Galveston County. I'm not a politician. I bet you've heard that before. But I am a fourth-generation Texan. And I understand the value of hard work, strong families, and getting involved in our community for all the right reasons. We're at a critical point in Texas. We need strong leaders with strong conservative values leading this state to protect our future and to protect future generations. Cheryl, my beautiful wife, and I have 5 children. Most of them are grown. Our married children live in Galveston County. They're here tonight. They have blessed us with 5 wonderful grandchildren. As a strong family man, I have always put my family first. As I take the step to be your Texas State Representative, I will not only represent the district, but my own children and grandchildren. God has prepared me for this job over the years of my life. He's trained me through the experiences of my life. My wife and I dedicated our lives to the Lord years ago. That commitment has led us to serve not only in the community, but by becoming a leader in the church and in the community. I've served in many capacities in the local church. It's very good training because you have to learn to work with people. I've helped plant 2 churches in the Galveston County area and have had the honor of advising and supporting my pastors. As a business owner, I understand the importance of a strong, competent leader. My wife and I financed our business with our own money, all the money we had. We started with nothing. I grew my business from the ground up and have represented the people of Galveston County in Texas for the past 27 years. I know a little something about representation. My insurance business represented many during Hurricane Ike, and I worked closely with each person to make sure that they were well taken care of. I've learned to accept the challenges of difficult times, and I take personal responsibility for those that have placed their trust in me. I know what it takes to operate on a tight budget in a struggling economy. Payroll, taxes, and staffing are the bedrock challenges of every business. I live this challenge every day. Hurricane Ike brought hundreds of property claims to my agency. But after the storm, I walked the streets of San Leon and Bay Cliff and Galveston, observing the firsthand devastation and destruction that had hit our communities. I've worked with the Texas windstorm insurance for many years. I met with the insurance commissioner, with the insurance committee, and with the legislatures, hoping to bring about change. I consulted with them about the much-needed insurance reform. Now, I want the opportunity to make things right in Texas from the inside, instead of working hard on the outside to have very little change take place. I want insurance reform that is fair to all. Insurance reform that gets the lawyers and the politicians out of our pockets. Insurance reform that allow you to receive the protection that you need and want. I became involved in the Republican Party out of a deep desire to make a difference. I believed then as now that if I'm not involved, I have no say in what direction we're taking. I came into the party knowing that changes needed to be made. However, I believe the best way to have a positive effect on the established volunteers of the party was to serve them and to honor the time that they had spent paving the way for us. I worked as a precinct chairman, election judge, poll watcher, and even served as a delegate to many of the party conventions. I have faithfully volunteered for many years, but that does not make me the establishment. I believe my grassroots work has prepared me to be the one for the job of running against this Democrat incumbent. Besides serving my family, my church, and through my business, I've served on the Dickinson City Council. That was fun. You can ask Carrie. Galveston County Water Board, and as a commissioner on the Texas City Galveston Pilot Commission. I made decisions that were difficult, and I learned creative ways to get people together in order for them to help see the truth about certain issues. I have gained a unique perspective on the role of government and industry. It's a limited government, accountable to the people. I am qualified and competent to serve you in District 23. My experience makes a difference. Now, let me speak to you straight from the heart. I am a true conservative. I've been criticized in the past for being too conservative, for speaking out against things that cheat the taxpayer or hide things from them or trying to put a stop to wrongdoing. I entered the party as a very passionate conservative, believing that I knew what needed to change. I believe in correcting the wrongs. I've been in politics long enough to know that I must do what is right for the people, even if it hurts me personally. Blessed is the man who swears to his own hurt and changeth not. I've always been known as a man that stood for principle. I've been in support of the Tea Party because I believe in the same principles. I think government's overstepped its bounds long ago. Conservatives need to work well together in order to accomplish a righteous agenda. However, we should never compromise our convictions or our integrity. Being forced to elect a leader whose beliefs are contrary to our core values is not acceptable. If you were to epitomize my life, you would say that I found answers that others did not see. My name means bearer of burdens, wagon. I am built to carry the weight of a problem. I'm able to find solutions when others are prone to accept limitations. Creating practical, workable solutions to complex issues is what I do best. Raising a large family and building a business required many things. Today, my life remains anchored in faith, family, and community. I strive to be a gentleman statesman. A gentleman because I want to be civilized. I want to be educated. I want to be sensible and well-mannered. I value common courtesy and the respect of all people, and I want to be known as a statesman because I want to exhibit wisdom and ability as I direct the affairs of government. I'm a principled conservative who is listening to the taxpayers of this community. If your hope for our community is a new direction in integrity in state government, I hope you'll consider voting for me, Wayne Faircloth. Together, we can make it happen. Thank you.